Yeah, first off, I just want to say a huge thank you to Amy and her team. It's so much effort to gather so many good people and put on so much good content. So thank you, Amy, and your team. Yeah. So for those of you who I haven't met, as Amy said, my name is Langley McNeil, and I was very fortunate to be born and raised right here in Sun Valley. My dad is going on 40 years on the Sun Valley Ski Patrol. And my mom taught at the community school forever. I had her as my own 5th grade teacher. Some of my earliest memories go back to how people care about each other and care about this place. And being a part of this community has deeply informed my values and the focus of my work. So as Amy said, by way of background, I've spent the majority of the past 15 years as a professional skier and got to compete in the X Games and on the World Cup. And I just transitioned 3 years ago to becoming Director of Community for Summit Series. So by a show of hands, how many people have heard of Summit Series? Okay, we have some work to do, but I'm glad there's a few people. So Summit is an organization dedicated to building community around unique experiences. It is made up of entrepreneurs, innovators, artists, athletes, and leaders who believe that collaboration and business should be tools to make a positive impact in the world. Today, I'd like to share with you a little bit about what we've learned in building a purpose-driven community and how why we think that community is an essential ingredient in building a resilient future together. So how did Summit start? Roughly 10 years ago, there was a 19-year-old kid named Elliot Bisnow. He had started a company while he was in college and wanted to drop out to focus on it full time. So he convinced his parents to let him do it for a year. The only problem is, once he dropped out, he realized he didn't have anyone he could ask for advice or mentor him with business. So on a whim, some wishful thinking, and blind ambition, he started cold calling and emailing people he'd read about in the New York Times or the cover of Fast Company. People that were building incredible businesses and disrupting industries. People he hoped could teach him a few things about business and life. And as crazy as it sounds, he convinced 19 remarkable people to come to Park City to go skiing. It turned out to be a very special trip, as it was much more about the focus of who people were and not just about the work they did. After the trip, the people that went started to tell their friends told their friends. The next one was planned shortly thereafter. 60 people to Aspen, the next 120 to Mexico, and this one-off experiment soon became the Summit Series. The next thing that happened was a game changer for the organization. We got a call from the Obama White House, whose office had heard about the gatherings, and they asked us to curate the country's top 35 social entrepreneurs to discuss the idea that what's good for business can also be good for the world. And what was shared at the White House has become the fundamental mission of Summit, a vision of social entrepreneurship that values both purpose and profit. More and more events started to happen, and as the organization started to grow, the first thing that we learned that when you're building community, your culture and the people in it is the most important thing you have. So we decided on criteria for attendance. 1, do they do innovative work regardless of their discipline, and is their work making an impact? And 2, are they a nice person? Are they kind, humble, open-minded, with a generous spirit? I always ask myself, would I bring this person home to Sunday dinner with my mom? And that happens to be a widely novel idea, to have both a high intellectual bar and a gut check. The second thing I'd like to share with you is what we have learned and are continuing to learn about diversity. All the people in this room can probably agree that diversity is essential. There's been study after study published about how diversity makes a room smarter. The collective IQ of a group goes up, makes businesses more successful, and helps us all get out of our own echo chambers. Unintentionally, we weren't always great at this. For example, in 2008, Summit was only 10% female. Today, it's much closer to 50%. So to focus on diversity, it has taken many hearts and many hands. It has been a prioritized, targeted effort from thinking about the people we hire on the Summit team to making sure we always have a very diverse set of speakers, musicians, performances, artists, and attendees. So how have we done it? We constantly ask for help. We enlist the community. We go to people smarter, more experienced in fields we know nothing about. Have them school us on the major players, who we should know and why we should know them, who they respect. We offer scholarships to all of our events and hire ambassadors in different industries. Our team is small but mighty, and we spend all year gathering people from all walks of life: musicians, neuroscientists, athletes, civil rights leaders, environmentalists. The time and effort to build these events sometimes feels very daunting, but the intention and passion has yielded programming we're very proud of. For example, this is a recent event we just hosted. We had anywhere from producer and director Quentin Tarantino to 5-time Olympic swimmer Dara Torres, to the first deaf and blind graduate of Harvard Law School, Haben Girma, to author and thought leader Malcolm Gladwell. Early on, we knew if we were going to gather all types of people from different industries, we needed to be different. So back in our earliest days, when Elliot invited 19 people to ski, active experiences have been a part of our DNA. At all of our events, we layer on talks, performances, art, culinary, health, wellness, and impact. It has been said before that one does not discover new lands without consenting to lose sight of the shore. For the last 2 years, we have taken that quote quite literally and came up with the idea of Summit at Sea, where we chartered an ocean liner, filled it with 3,000 of the most interesting people we knew, and set sail to lose sight of the shore. We have done some radical stuff, but instead of just tell you about it, let's take a moment to watch.
Here at Summit, we build community. For us, this means surrounding yourself with the people who inspire you the most. It means creating friendships among like-minded individuals and accelerating these relationships with dynamic shared experiences. It doesn't matter what discipline you're in. What matters most is your passion and that you're striving to create positive change in the world. Summit is made up of entrepreneurs and artists, neuroscientists and musicians, nonprofit founders and global explorers, humble innovators and diverse thinkers from around the world. And for the past 7 years, we've worked to foster this community and have created environments that catalyze these relationships. We've gathered thousands in mountain towns, chartered ocean liners to secluded tropical islands, created temporary tent villages, and held events in our nation's capital, all with the purpose of creating a canvas to connect, educate, and inspire one another, and to help push the world forward to effect positive change.
Thank you. So why do we put so much effort into creating these insane experiences? Why do we spend so much time building a 1/4-mile long dinner table so 900 people can sit together? Or build things like this with artist Simon Beck in the middle of the wilderness? Because we constantly find that people truly do connect best through shared, immersive experiences. It helps people get into different frames of mind, become more creative when problem solving, and takes out the tedious and transactional nature of networking. We all inherently know this. That's why this conference is so great. You guys can all go mountain biking or hiking with a group of new people right after this talk, and you can bet you're going to get to know those people a lot differently and have better conversations than if you get a cup of coffee indoors. Here are some tangible results we've seen come out of some of our immersive experiences. In 2011, we did a community partnership with the Nature Conservancy, where we brought scientists, philanthropists, adventurers together to raise awareness and funding for a 77-mile marine preserve. Over the past 5 years, the community has helped preserve over 850,000 acres in Kenya with the Sarara Wildlife Refuge. Other outcomes include many individuals starting new businesses together, meeting their best friends, getting their companies funded, or even falling in love. For example, Sean Parker, the founder of Napster, met the Spotify guys, which is the world's most popular music streaming service, in the early days of Summit, and it helped launch Spotify into the US. The founders of Indela met at Summit, which finds the most talented developers in Africa, shapes them into technical leaders, and places them within companies that range from Microsoft and IBM to dozens of high-growth startups. Mark Zuckerberg's foundation recently invested in them. We're very excited for them. Bo Willimon, the creator of House of Cards, started a whole political action movement at this year's Summit at Sea, which was the day after the election, so you can imagine what it was like on that boat. One of my favorites is Jimmy Chen, the mountaineer and famous National Geographic photographer, met director Elizabeth Chai Vasarhelyi, and they created the incredible climbing film Meru together. They also are now married. Though the biggest collaboration we could have never predicted. In 2011, we knew we needed a home if we wanted to continue to scale these experiences and scale the community. We were approached by a guy that had been living in Eden, Utah for over 20 years. He had attended many of our events and completely got what Summit was about. He himself was deep in the education technology space and also a financier from his VC days. He had seen a number of real estate investors come in and try to buy the local ski resort, Powder Mountain. They had plans for massive overdevelopment, overcrowding. They wanted to put in water parks, strip malls, the whole 9 yards. So he approached Summit and asked that we think about partnering with him and buying it. We told him he was insane, but we went to check it out anyways. And this is what we found.
I see gold in the air, in promise in the streams. I see love in our hearts.
So as you can see, it's a 10,000-acre utopia located in the middle of the Wasatch Mountains. It's only an hour from the Salt Lake City airport, and we knew it would be the perfect home for Summit. We raised the capital amongst a founding membership of community members, as well as a municipal bond from the county. And we crowdsourced the purchase with the community members that really believe in and share our vision. You can see why we fell in love. And in 2012, Summit moved to Eden, Utah to start building a pretty special little public mountain town from scratch. To date, we've built 6 miles of roads, 22 miles of mountain biking, installed 3 new chairlifts, and have kept all the charms of Summit Powder Mountain along the way. Summit remains committed to preserving the magical, uncrowded experience of Powder Mountain, capping day passes at 2,000 skiers. There's still the old school buses that pick you up from the backside, and the Powder Keg après ski bar, and plans to do a very modest development. The vision is to create the most progressive, forward-thinking little mountain town. Hostels you can stay in for $25 a night to more high-end, where architecture is subservient to the natural landscape. Right now, we have 8 homes, almost complete, that have to be under a certain square footage and meet environmentally safe standards. You can see we love the modern Meats Mountain clean look there. And next year, we'll start to see the implementation of an intentional Main Street, which will be pedestrian only, lined with pop-up stores, micro apartments, farm-to-table restaurants, yoga, public art, media labs, and educational outlets offering training in everything from meditation to software development to athletic performance. It will embody a next-generation urbanism that nourishes social entrepreneurship, connection and collaboration, and responsible living. So what started as a 19-person gathering has now grown into a global community of over 20,000. We host intimate gatherings 15 times a year at Powder Mountain, 1 annual flagship, local city events, and a few adventure excursions. So looping back to my original thesis, community is essential in building a resilient future. What are our takeaways? 1, a lot is in the culture. If you want to spread an idea and create a movement, enlist a passionate groups of individuals and dream as big as you can. 2, diversity is the currency of the future. It's vital to bring together different frameworks of thinking, different viewpoints when tackling new problems or creating new ideas. And 3, double down on experiential connection if possible. It doesn't have to be extravagant. Do it around the dinner table, do it around the campfire. Just get people together in different ways, as those connections will be much more sustainable. The power of community never ceases to amaze me, whether it's Summit, the community right here in Sun Valley, or the brilliant minds I've met here today that are fighting on the front lines of resiliency and community. I feel lucky to be doing this work along such fine company. Thank you.